Hey guys, back with another video today. I didn't have a lot of time to get ready or anything. In fact, I didn't get ready for the video. This is just how I look today. Today I wanted to talk to you guys about my favorite dupe houses. I think in the next few days I'll go over my collection of each dupe house and do a review of each house and the perfumes I have by them. But today I just wanted to talk about kind of how to navigate dupe houses, maybe how to get started with them and what to do. So the fragrance houses that I'm familiar with that I've ordered from before is Dossier, Dua, Oil Perfumery. I have one from Juliana's and Dapper Fragrances. Out of all of those, I'll tell you guys my favorite at the end. So I started off with Dossier, and honestly, like, the experience was hit and miss. I want to say I started off ordering like 12 fragrances, and I did send most of them back. And then later on I got rid of another 2, I think. And I saw all the reviews on YouTube about Dossier. I saw the people that had been sponsored talking about how great Dossier was. So that's just the one that I became familiar with first. So that's why I started there. But after ordering about 12 fragrances from them, I did end up returning most of them. I just wanted to test it out. So I even ordered like Coco Mademoiselle because I was so familiar with that, because that used to be my signature scent, because I wanted to test out the brand. People were saying that it literally smelled the same, that it smelled so much the same that it like triggered scent memories with them. And like I said, what I found is that it was kind of hit and miss. A lot of the fragrances I did send back because that was kind of their thing. It's like, oh, you can just order them, and if you don't like them, just send them right back. So I did. Looking back now, I know that if I would have maybe gave it a little bit more chance, looking back now, I think that if I would have tried a little bit harder, maybe waited a little bit longer to like let the fragrances sit, maybe they would have got better. Maybe if I would have given more of a chance, but I ordered from them when I was still a little bit newer to the whole understanding like that your nose changes during the seasons or during different hormonal stages. I wasn't really familiar with all that, so I just kind of assumed, oh, these are not that great, so I sent them back. If they didn't smell like the original perfume, or if they didn't smell good in general. Like if it's standalone scent and the type of perfume without it being a dupe, if it just doesn't smell good, I also didn't keep it. So maybe for some of these, they were spot on dupes, but I just didn't like it. This again was when I was unfamiliar with certain notes that I wasn't into. So part of them got returned because they weren't good dupes, and the other part got returned because I just overall didn't like that scent profile. So the dupes that I do have left from Dossier are probably my favorite. I haven't tried anything newer recently, but I did keep those dupes. I did keep 3 of them, and I do enjoy them. I'll go more into what perfumes I have and what I think in my following video. But overall, I think that it's very, very important to note that you should figure out what you like in general, so that way dupe houses aren't just the way that you're getting a first whiff of these scents. You should probably have a pretty good idea before ordering, because if you order like 3 perfumes that aren't even your taste and you get them, you might think that the house of Dossier sucks, but maybe it's just that you ordered perfumes that weren't your taste. And then the other thing for me that was important was that the perfume smelled good whether they were a dupe or not, you know, just on their own, that it was a good perfume. It doesn't matter to me, like the perfumes that I still have from them, it doesn't matter to me if they're spot on dupes, because I like the scent of the perfume. Another thing to know is that not all perfumes are dupeable. I think that it's so important to understand that there are some scents that are so easy to mimic and to capture, maybe by almost anyone that tries to remake them. At least for the most part, all the dupes are going to be similar or smell good. And then there's some perfumes that are just like masterpieces, or maybe they withhold some of the information, or maybe it's the quality of ingredients. Whatever the case is, there's some perfumes that the dupes are just never going to come close. They're just not going to do the fragrance justice. And those to me are not worth purchasing from almost any company. So I wouldn't go and buy like, if I had like 10 fragrances on my list, I wouldn't go and buy all of them from the same dupe house, because that dupe house might make a really good impression of one perfume, but not make a good impression of another perfume. I don't know if that makes sense. So I would personally do my research and figure out what perfume house and what dupe house makes a really good dupe of the fragrance that you want, and then go that route. So that's why I think it's good to figure out what house has the best dupe, not just get all your dupes from one company. Hope that makes sense. One good example that I can give you is the infamous Baccarat Rouge. Everybody has a dupe for it, and honestly, almost every dupe that I've smelled smells good. It smells pretty accurate, but whether it smells 80% or 90% accurate, or almost 100, it still smells good, it still smells pleasant, it's still a very likable scent if you like that scent profile. So I feel like that one is safe from almost any house because it's just an easily dupeable fragrance. Another one that I think is actually a pretty good fragrance to dupe is Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. I can't imagine that one being like gross. I feel like any dupe that I've smelled actually smells pretty good. It still smells sweet and cherry-like, so it's pleasant no matter who it's made from. And then there's a perfume, I would say like Coco Mademoiselle. I've never smelled a dupe that even resembles it. Like, I could tell that there's like citrusy in there, and I could tell that there's a little bit of rose, and I can tell that there's patchouli, but it never captures the true essence of Coco Mademoiselle. And that's just from my opinion. That's just from what I've smelled. It never really gives me Coco Mademoiselle vibes, ever. So that's just one example of a perfume that I don't think is easily dupeable. Hi! Look at that face. He's so impressed by the perfumes. So anyways, I was just interrupted, but I hope that makes sense. Like I said, some fragrances are just easily dupeable, some are not. So it's almost like an insult to the fragrance to try to wear a bad replica of it, you know? So to me, it's not even worth it. I would find out, like I said, what fragrance is duped well by that house and purchase it that way. So that was like my tangent on that, is that you have to know what you're getting yourself into, and you can't just expect one fragrance house to dupe them all very well, because it's not their fault. Like I said, some fragrances are just not easily dupeable. So I want to say the next house that I tried was Dua, and I don't want to come off wrong, but there's something about Dua's overall DNA that I just didn't love. I like them. I really like a couple of like their gourmand ones. In fact, maybe that's the problem, is that I only tried gourmands. I did learn a lot from them. I learned about maceration. I learned about, you know, where you give it a spritz and then you put it away to let it marinate and just sit there and get better with age. You age them, you know? So I did learn that by owning Duas, and I do think it works. I think that they smell really good, but it has this like synthetic note that comes with the scents. And I still like the perfume, and the synthetic note goes away. It's just that, you know, upon first impression of spraying it, it's always like this slight unpleasantness. So that kind of bothers me about Duas, but I do enjoy them, and I enjoy the ones that I have. I think they smell very good, and just like I said, just stand alone, regardless of whether they are an exact dupe or not. They do smell good, and those are the ones I kept. I did resell a couple of them as well, but I kept the ones that I wanted. And I want to say my favorite from the house is the dupe for Angel Share, which I think is called Elixir or Angel Elixir. Angel's Elixir or something like that. That one is probably my favorite, but like I said, I just don't like the experience of having a slightly unpleasant opening. That's the same reason why I won't buy Montel or Mancera fragrances. I just don't want to deal with that fake synthetic opening. I don't want to have to put up with something before I get to enjoy my fragrance, because I love fragrances because I enjoy the experience. So I don't want anything to damage or hinder that experience for me. So because of that reason, I'm going to try very hard not to purchase any more Duas, even though I do get very tempted here and there. So it's just that synthetic note, but I do think they're very good. They're very, very potent. They're strong. They're extraits de parfums, so I know that they last longer. I'm sure they last longer than all of the originals, so that is a plus. And not just that, not just because of that synthetic note, I'm also just trying not to overdo it. I'm also trying not to get perfumes, not to spend a lot of money. Dapper Fragrances is also one of the more expensive cologne houses, so I'm trying not to buy from them because of the price, the synthetic note, and the fact that their price per ounce is not great. In fact, on some of those items per ounce, you're actually better off just paying for the original in some cases. And for me, you know, like the bottle is part of the experience as well. So depending on the fragrance, there's just some that I will never buy the full bottle of. And for those, I might come back to Dua. But for now, I think that I'm done with Duas. And I will also have a video coming talking about all my Dua fragrances and my reviews of them. And overall, I do like Dua fragrances. They just have that one caveat. And I would recommend them if you're looking for some of those special ones that only they have. Okay, moving on. The next house that I tried is Oil Perfumery, and this is one that I dove deep into, and I really do like them. What I like the most about them, the fact that you can actually still use that oil once you get the original. So let's say you get a little oil of it, and then you find you really love the fragrance, then you do order the fragrance. Now you can layer your fragrance oil like on your wrist or your pressure points, and then still use the perfume to just prolong the perfume, which I love that. I love the idea of it not going to waste versus you getting a replica of something and then you love it so much that you end up getting the original, and now you have both. You kind of wear like the dupe to like not waste your original one, but either way, it still creates that redundancy in your collection where now you have two fragrances that smell almost alike in your collection. So I'm trying to avoid a lot of redundancy because I have too many perfumes. I don't want a lot of them to smell the same. So because of that, I find Oil Perfumery a great way to try perfumes that I think I'm going to love, because then when I get the original, I compare them and it just amps up the experience and it just makes it better and nothing goes to waste, and I have more lasting power. So I do love that. I also do think that their fragrances are pretty spot on. They are really good dupes. I think they do a really good job at mimicking the original scents. So they are one of my top ones for sure. So the other house that I tried only one perfume from, but you do get samples from them, Giuliana's Perfumes. I do have a couple samples. So technically it's like I tried 3, right? I am also going to make a review on this, so I don't want to get into it too much, but for them, I do think they're very good. I think that they're very close as far as mimicking the real scent. And not only that, but they smell good in general. They don't have any kind of weird scent. I think they're really good dupes. I love the bottles of them probably the most. I love like the box, the whole presentation, and I love that they give you 2 samples so you can try. You get to pick what you sample, so it's going to be things that you are more likely to love instead of them just sending you random samples, which is really good marketing because then they got you hooked for probably another fragrance. But that's a great idea in my opinion, and you get to sample a couple more things. So, and their samples are actually pretty good sizes, so you can definitely get like a good wear out of them to see if you're gonna like them, which I think is great that they do that. I love that. They're also like nice quality. But we'll get more into everybody's packaging when I make their individual videos. So for that, for all those reasons, I do think Giuliana's is a really good house. They do have the least amount of inventory though, like selection. I want to say they always just have a few perfumes that are kind of like popular at that moment, but also probably because they don't have as much variety. They do such a good job. They focus on the ones that they want to make and they take their time, and I appreciate the craftsmanship and the time that they take, because I do think it shows in the quality of their fragrances and their packaging and all that. So I like them. Okay, so lastly is Dapper Fragrances. I heard about them through Sherry's TV. She mentioned the Sol de Janeiro dupe that they had. I know you're probably wondering, like, why would I buy a dupe from Sol de Janeiro Charosta 62 when they do offer an EDP and it's not actually that much money? And the reason is because I heard that the EDP, the perfume, actually doesn't last at all, that the body spray lasts more. And I really wanted that scent, but I wanted it for it to last. So I do have the body spray of the original Sol de Janeiro, and then I got the EDP of Sol de Janeiro from Dapper Fragrances. I heard about that fragrance specifically from her, that it lasts way better, so that's how I discovered them, and it does last way better. It is an almost exact dupe to it. I want to say like 98-99%. There is a little bit of a almost like a synthetic note upon first spraying it, but it's not very detectable unless you go and sniff the place where you sprayed it. You can't really actually tell, so it's not very so it doesn't really mess with the experience of the perfume. In the air you still get the same effect, and it still smells really good, and it's way longer lasting than the regular one, so that's why I wanted to try them. But then I ordered a few more things. Probably ordered more like to get free shipping or something, because that's what I do. I'll like spend another 30-40 bucks, you know, to not pay $5 in shipping. But anyways, so I did try more from them, and all of the ones that I tried have smelled so good. I'm very impressed by them, and I was almost more impressed because I had never heard about them. They weren't like, you know, they weren't all over YouTube. They have a lot of variety. They have a lot of niche and designer on their website, and all the fragrances, like I said, that I smelled have been really, really good impressions. Like the niche ones have been like really good quality. I'm very much impressed by them. They had perfumes that I wasn't able to find anywhere else, so I really like that. And then another thing that I really like is their pricing. Their pricing is very good. They have very reasonable pricing compared to the other one, compared to Duas and compared to other ones. Their packaging is simple, it's basic, it's not the best, but I would say for the quality of their fragrances, for the way that they match other perfumes, and then their pricing and the scents overall, and the variety that they have, they are definitely the #1 house that I've tried. They're just #1. You can't beat them. Their pricing is so good, and their scents are good. I mean, you can't beat that, you know, it's really good. So they are the #1 out of all the ones that I've tried. #2 is actually Juliana's perfume. #3 is Oil Perfumery, but I still love them. #2 and #3 are kind of interchangeable. I love Oil Perfumery, and Juliana's almost the same. And then Dua would be #4, and then last place is actually Dossier. So I actually just said them in order, starting from my least favorite to my top favorite. So I don't know if you guys caught that, but that's what I think about all those houses. So I would recommend that you actually probably start off with Dapper Fragrances if they have the perfumes that you're looking for, and then, you know, I would recommend them in that order. I most likely won't order from Dossier again, but I'm not opposed to retrying them. Like I said, my opinion was based on first impressions of a few perfumes a while back. So I've definitely changed my taste, and I've changed my knowledge on perfumes. So it is very likely that I would try them and feel differently about them. So please take my thoughts and opinions with a grain of salt, and remember that it's just my opinion. So okay, so that's it for this video, guys. I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. I hope you guys like this video. I hope you guys like this kind of video. If you guys have any questions about a particular house that I've tried, or even one that I haven't, let me know. I will be making individual videos for each of these houses, showing you guys my collection and what I think about them. So stay tuned. I'll see you guys soon. Take care. Bye.